For my dissertation, I'm planning on exploring how colour can help with healing from grief and other difficult life experiences. For this, I'm going to be exploring kind of the current climate around grief and loss. 2020 and 2021 have had a lot of different losses for lots of different people. Obviously, some people have lost family members, but there have also been different kinds of losses, like careers or, cancelled plans. Though I think my current focus is grief from losing someone who's close to you. I also want to look into can certain colors help elicit feelings and memories? Also, can colors help people express emotions? And also, is this helpful? Like, can these colors actually help people, heal and have hope for the future? I'm kind of interested in looking into using color for mental health. I think that, according to a book that I've read called The Little Book of Color, there are three main ways that we relate to color. We have a personal color association, which is a conscious link to something like, for example, a favorite item or a color we liked as a child that we have a connection to. And then we also have a kind of cultural and symbolic meaning, which is a kind of deeply embedded belief about a color within a culture. For example, in Western cultures, black is associated often with death and funerals, while in some Asian cultures, this is more associated with the color white. And also, what's the psychological meaning? Is there kind of an unconscious intuitive response? Like, for example, some people may find a white room calming, while other people might find it kind of sterile. So, why have I decided to do this topic? Well, for one, I have a personal interest in colour. I've loved colour my entire life. I love thinking about how people perceive colours and how some colours are very polarizing. Um, I also think there's kind of limited research in this area. I think that there's some research in like the architectural sectors and maybe in art therapy, but there's not as much research from a design perspective. Um, I think that color does have a potential to tap into emotions, and I think that this could be utilized in a positive way. Um, I want to kind of explore whether color can help people recover from difficult experiences. And I am also very interested in the process of grief and our kind of cultural reactions to grief and how this affects people. And I think that our culture often stigmatizes this process, which can often make it harder for people. I've started to think about kind of what research methods I'm planning on using, and I'm thinking about using kind of a visual research method. So, using the visual stimulus of color to elicit personal responses. For this, I kind of mocked up two different Padlets with two different prompts on them, and I was thinking, can people engage with this visual stimulus and kind of what colors to choose? So, I kind of thought about changing I kind of thought about choosing a wide variety of different colors, and I think that I want to kind of find out like what colors people identify with and what colors maybe provoke certain emotions. I think that stage two, hopefully, if restrictions allow, is to possibly create kind of a physical space using color. So maybe like kind of a pop-up tent or like some kind of simple kind of pop-up, maybe like even like a cardboard box or something. um I want to kind of have this like as a safe space for people to kind of express and experience different emotions. And I think kind of want to find out how people kind of experience this space. Obviously, with this research, there are some ethical considerations because, some of the stuff we're dealing with is pretty sensitive, especially, difficult experiences and grief can be very difficult things to talk about. So this is something I'll need to keep in mind and make sure that my participants know they're anonymous and are comfortable with sharing their experiences. I've been looking into other resources in this area, and I think a lot of the papers related to color and emotional response are in are in the field of architecture. For example, a paper I was reading was about soldiers suffering from PTSD and how a healing center for them could be helpful if given the right design. Like certain colors you would really want to avoid, like red and yellow and purple. Whereas other colors like blue, strategic use of white might be a lot more calming and facilitate these soldiers to open up about their difficult experiences. I've also kind of looked into like the use of color in art therapy, though this is something I really need to explore more. And I've also had a look at some books and kind of films about mental health. An example that comes to mind is the book The Red Tree by Sean Tan, which is a children's book that utilizes color to simplify hopelessness and hope. I'm planning on my target research demographic to be young adults. So I feel like this group is often overlooked with grief support. Young adults are more likely to suffer from complicated grief and mental health issues than older adults. And I obviously have a personal connection to this group as this is when I experienced my first major loss. But I would say I want my research to be inclusive, and obviously my spaces can be used, and I hope they are used by a wide variety of different age groups and demographics. I've been thinking about some possible collaborative partners that I could work with, and the possible ones I was thinking of was a charity in my local area called Mental Health Aberdeen. I was also thinking about maybe getting in touch with the Inchgarth Community Centre because I've volunteered with them before, and they're the largest community centre in Aberdeen. And I was also thinking about the charity Let's Talk About Loss, which is an online resource for grief in young people. So I was hoping that I could get in contact with them. And here are some references that I have either referred to in my presentation or have facilitated me in my research. Thank you for listening.